In this video, we're going to talk about buying multiple oceanfront condos and how to use priority, how to prioritize your investment strategy. I'm going to walk you through a client interaction I had recently this past week where I had a client interested in buying 6 oceanfront condos. At one point, then he stepped down to 4. Well, then how do we prioritize these oceanfront condos? How do we know which ones have the absolute least amount of risk versus ones that don't have the least amount of risk? How do we set a priority when it comes to buying multiple oceanfront condos? Now, we're going to dive into a lot of the specifics in this video. You're going to learn all about buying more than one oceanfront condo at a time. So if that's your dream and you want your next investment to be a solid investment because you're a seasoned investor or a first-time investor, there is valuable information in this video just for you. Watch it to the end. Let's get into the video now. I believe you should invest in oceanfront condos in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, because you can enjoy and increase the passive income of your oceanfront condo through the 20 to 22 million tourists that visit the #2 vacation destination on the East Coast each year. Not only can you enjoy the equity paid for by visiting tourists, but you can also anticipate the over 100% appreciation experience at many of the oceanfront resorts in our market during the recent decade. I believe you should invest in oceanfront condos in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, because you can depreciate them, reducing your overall tax burden, keeping more money for you and your loved ones, and ensuring unnecessary taxes aren't paid. All right, guys, so I had a client wanting to buy 6 condos. He backtracked to 4 condos. Well, how do we prioritize? How do we know which condos have the least amount of risk and the most amount of upside to invest in? Well, very simply put, guys, if you have to make a choice between a condo with an established Airbnb business versus a condo that does not have an established Airbnb business, you always choose the condo that has the established business in place, that has the upcoming rentals on the books. This unit. So I'm gonna dive into the specifics of it. We get this unit under contract, right? Well, it's a more expensive unit. It's $600,000. My client calls me and goes, "Well, there's another one over there on the market for $579. Why don't we get out of this contract and go for that one because it's it'll save me $30-something thousand." Well, guys, the reason why is because the other one doesn't have a rental history. It doesn't have a proven track record. It doesn't have $40,000 worth of rentals on the books by August. This one we're walking into with people already on the books, an established business. It's already there. People already know about it. Guests already like it. It is less risk. Versus a different oceanfront condo that might save you $20,000 or $30,000, $40,000 right now. Yeah, it might save you, let's say it'll save you $50,000. Okay. But how much more risk are you taking? Now we've got to put some remodel work into this other condo. Now we've got to get it looking like the condo that's making $90,000. It's complicated and it's risky. We got to get contractors in. We got to do design work. There's a lot of moving parts. Plus, we've got the timing of the market. We're coming into peak season. You got to work through all that. We can step into a rental that already has business in place, which is a ton less risk in my opinion. Or we can buy one that we got to put work into and we got to get rentals on the books. Which is the priority? Well, the priority is the one with the established business. You're always going to want to find units with established businesses ahead of units that need that remodel, that need that extra work. Now, is it a viable strategy to buy units that need the remodel and the work and buy underperforming assets? Absolutely. Do investors do it all the time? Absolutely. However, if you're a risk-averse person and one of your goals is to keep this the least amount of risk possible, then if I have to choose between two condos and one of them has an established business and the other condo doesn't have an established business, because my goal primarily is the least amount of risk, not the most upside, I'm going to choose the condo with the established business. Now, if I were younger, this client I was working with is older and the money was very, very important to him. I understand that. Now, so he didn't want to take on a lot of risk. He wanted the least amount of risk deals. If the client was younger and they could recoup from maybe a loss or something going wrong or something like that, and they were more risk tolerant, and they were after the upside more than they were staying away from risk, well, guys, it's a very simple decision. We're going to go after the one that we can remodel, so we want to save $20 or $30 or $40 or $50,000. And maybe that established business is not as attractive, and it's going to change per client, per investment, per circumstance. It's different for everybody. Everybody's different. So one of the things that you get with me when you work with me as your broker, I'm going to read into all of those details. We're going to work together to build an investment plan that's right for you, that fits your tolerance levels, your risk aversions, and that meets your primary goals and objectives. It's that simple and that easy, guys. So what do we do when we're confronted with an Airbnb property that's got a great business on the books, or a property that doesn't? And we've got to remodel it and we got to get business for it. I'm going to ask you, what's your risk tolerance? Do you want to try to make the maximum amount of money and go for as much upside as possible? Or do you want to keep risk as minimal as possible and step into a functioning business? I can't answer that question for you, but you can answer it for you. I can help you work through it though. 843-360-1737. Give me a call and let me help you guys. I get calls, emails, and texts from people just like you all the time, whether you're a professional, an average Joe, a doctor, a dentist, executive, a small business owner. I don't care where you are, what your background is. If you're interested in investing and making a savvy investment decision in an oceanfront condo in our market, or even a commercial property, give me a call. It's 843-360-1737. I believe you should invest in oceanfront condos in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, because this is the fastest growing area out of the 150 most populated areas in the entire United States for the last 3 years in a row, according to U.S. News and World Report. This helps to insulate our market from many of the ups and downs that the rest of our nation's real estate market experiences. This can help you have a more stable rental property. I believe you should invest in oceanfront condos in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, because they have a tremendous upside when compared to money market accounts and the stock market, due to the appreciation they earn and the potential of higher annual yields through their gross rental income when compared to these other investments. Money market accounts and the stock market don't have the upside of added appreciation. I believe you should invest in oceanfront condos in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, because while our prices have risen and have held their value, we're also much cheaper than other places like Florida. Where else can you go and find an oceanfront condo for as little as $100,000? If you're getting into the real estate game or expanding your current portfolio, the bang for your buck is sitting right on the Myrtle Beach, South Carolina oceanfront. So what do? We find, if you're buying multiple properties and your goal is the least amount of risk, we're going to find as many properties that already have established Airbnb businesses on them as possible to keep your risk as low as possible. Now, if you're after upside, I want to make as much money as possible, what are we going to do? We're going to find underperforming assets that need a remodel. We're going to buy them cheap as we can, and we're going to rent them out. We're going to put them on Airbnb, VRBO, and Booking.com. It's that simple and that easy based on your goals. Now, I want to throw this out here, guys. Let's talk about sellers. Sellers are not really moving on their prices right now. It is what it is. They've got, you can't expect to go into the top performing Airbnb businesses in these properties, and think you're going to strong arm the seller into giving you a great deal. He's not going to hand you his business that's making $24,000 a year profit for $50,000 off or $30,000 off. It's not going to happen. You can't step into the best deals in the market with the savviest investors that are running those shows and think you're just going to show up and give them a flimsical offer and walk into an excellent business. If they don't get their purchase price, what are they going to do? I hear it all the time, they're going to hold the property until next year and keep making money. And it's that simple and that easy. So if your goal is the least amount of risk, don't come thinking that you're going to get the best deal, because that's probably not going to happen. You're most likely going to pay a premium to step into a business, even more than what the comps are, to step into a business that's fully functioning and profitable. And generally that's how it works. You know, you're paying for cash flow. That investor knows that. So he's going to charge you a premium because he did all the work, getting it up and running, getting it where it's going, or he's just going to keep it. Unless you can find a seller investor that's in a pinch and needs the money really bad, which of course they're out there. Don't expect to come into the best deals in the market. When you ask me, Brandon, where are the best deals? And I point you to the best deals, right? Don't tell me that you want $50,000 off the purchase price, because it is not going to happen. These investors are savvy, these sellers are savvy, they know what they've got, they know how the market's positioned, prices are holding in our market, and sellers are not really moving off the prices. And I'm seeing it over and over and over again. And do I work for my clients to get them the best deal? Yes. Do I put offers in under the asking price? Absolutely, all the time. And I'm telling you, in the Myrtle Beach market, prices are holding. Sellers in Airbnb properties that know that they're profitable and making money don't have to sell. And they won't sell the property to you unless you pay them what they want for it. And if you want the assurity of stepping into that property without all the risk of buying a property and starting from the ground up, well, you're going to pay for that cash flow. You're going to pay for that profitability. Now, am I going to do my best to help you get the best deal? You better believe it. Are we going to start our offer under the asking price? You better believe it. I'm going to do my best for you. I always do. And I get my clients great deals. And I go to work for my clients, securing some of the best deals in the market. You better believe it. At the same token, you have to have realistic expectations. You can't think you're going to walk into the top performing properties in the market and get a steal. It's just not realistic. Those investors are savvy. They know what they're doing. They didn't get there by accident. They're not just going to hand over their trophy. You're going to pay for it. You wouldn't buy any other business that way. You wouldn't, I mean, like, you might buy an underperforming business like that. You might buy a horrible business or a mediocre business at a discount for sure. But you can't expect, when you ask me on the phone, you're like, hey, show me where the top deals are. Show me those numbers. You cannot expect to get that at a super huge discount. It's just not realistic. You know, many times I'm seeing those top Airbnb properties, I'm seeing them over the comparables, and people are paying for it. Like, investors will pay dollar for dollar for those properties because they've got a sure thing. They don't got to worry about it. They don't got as much risk because they're not having sleepless nights. So anyways, it's just my 2 cents. I want you to be prepared. When you call me and say, hey, I want the best deals on the market, don't expect to beat the seller up on the price. They're not going to give it away. They didn't work that hard for nothing.